The following audio presentation is a production of Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, in association with the Division of Continuing Studies and the Institute on Ethnicity, Culture, and the Modern Experience. This production was originally funded by the New Jersey Historical Commission and has been remastered by the Rutgers ITV studio.
Rifkin Farms, can I help you? Yes, we have tomatoes. Yes. Yeah, they're 89 cents a pound.
Of all the produce available in the state's roadside stands and supermarkets, the Jersey tomato vies only with sweet corn for the title of most popular fruit or vegetable. Tim Floria knows this firsthand. His family has operated John and Joan's Road Stand in Piscataway for the past 35 years.
We get the older people coming in, and that's all they want is or they talk about. It's funny too, like I got the Jersey Fresh signs out there, and people are still asking me, is it a Jersey tomato? And I say, yes, it is. You know, now we even put stickers on the tomatoes, but people always are cautious of it.
The tomato was first cultivated in Central America. Early European explorers returned home with tomato plants for ornamental use, since they believed the red fruit was poisonous. Later, tomatoes crossed the Atlantic again, with European settlers heading for North America. Dr. Steve Garrison is a specialist in vegetable crops with Rutgers Cooperative Extension. At the university's Agricultural Research and Extension Center in Upper Deerfield, Cumberland County, Steve and his colleagues continue the work on tomato breeding and cultivation that started at Rutgers more than 70 years ago. As Steve explains, the tomato has been an important component of New Jersey's economy for some time.
In the early 1800s, it started to become a commercial crop, and by the mid 1800s, 1870s, there was actually a processing industry, a canning industry that developed here in New Jersey as well as other areas along the eastern coast. This industry grew very rapidly, and there was really large-scale production in the 1900s here all along the East Coast.
The tomato's commercial importance encouraged research into ways to improve yield, quality, and disease resistance. Rutgers was an early center of this work. There, a variety of what could be considered the definitive Jersey tomato was developed.
The person who was really responsible for the Rutgers tomato was Professor Schermerhorn in the vegetable crops department there on what is now Cook College. During the 1930s, he selected a variety which was later to be called Rutgers and introduced it in about 1936, I believe. And the Rutgers variety became the most popular tomato variety in the country for many years, and it held that position through the 1940s. By today's standards, it would certainly be a Model T, but at the time it was an advance.
Hand in hand with the challenge of breeding the ideal tomato is the task of finding better ways to grow it. At Cook College's Eco Complex on the Rutgers University New Brunswick campus, Dr. Harry Janes and his staff are perfecting new techniques for use in greenhouses.
In a greenhouse, you can grow about 4 to 8 times more per acre than you can out in the field. Also, people within the state are always complaining about the poor taste of tomatoes in the wintertime. And the greenhouse industry then focuses its production of tomatoes basically from October through the month of June, when we don't have the traditional juicy red field tomato that we refer to as the Jersey tomato. In actuality, people from New York and Pennsylvania will travel into New Jersey to buy that particular tomato. So it seemed that there should be an industry within the state that would produce this same type of tomato in the wintertime.
In the greenhouses operated by Harry's team, plants are grown hydroponically. in water rather than soil. This avoids soil-borne diseases and makes plant feeding more efficient. Winter sunlight is supplemented by high-pressure sodium lights to provide light more like that of the regular growing season. And groups of plants sit on rolling benches that are moved to service areas for tending. This improves work efficiency within the greenhouse. If you think research at Rutgers will provide a tomato that is out of this world, you're right in more ways than one. Rutgers University, in cooperation with Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken, is collaborating with NASA on the Advanced Life Support Initiative, a project to develop ways to grow food in space, as Harry Janes explains.
We have groups of people that are looking at recycling, and we have groups of people that are looking at food processing, and we have groups of people that are taking the work that we've already been doing for many years on plant production in these enclosed, controlled greenhouses, and trying to apply that information to growing in space. The International Space Station is in the beginnings of its construction, and I think what we're hoping to do is to see whether we can get some of those Jersey tomatoes up there for the astronauts. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is to construct a small salad machine for the space station, in which we would grow things like tomato, probably carrots, and we used to think we were going to grow some lettuce, but now I think we're going to change that to Swiss chard, just because it has a little more nutritive value to it than the lettuce.
Jersey tomatoes. Those look good. Best I've seen all year.
It may still be a few years before its renown spreads to Earth orbit and beyond.
I think I'm going to get some tomatoes.
But here on terra firma, the Jersey tomato is one of the brightest stars in the produce department. As this customer at John and Jones Road Stand puts it,
but you can't get better than Jersey Fresh. No one has Jersey Fresh produce except New Jersey.
For New Jersey Times, I'm John Christopher Cornell.
Thank you very much.